don't feel any better about it.
Well, he still got thrown out. I mean, that's the thing. And,
No,
and there's reports of the league going to rescind it today. We'll see if that happens. But even if they do,
ridiculous.
He got pulled from the game.
It's like the 2-minute report when they admit all their mistakes, but what does that really do? Fizz, you could tell you as a coach, I could tell you as a player, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? I think refs need to start being held more accountable. They need to be fined for situations like this because Draymond is the heart and soul of that team, and Golden State is someone that's going to be towards the middle or lower half in the playoff standing, so one game could really mean a lot. So you know how I already feel about refs. I got a long relationship with refs.
That may or may not be on the record. I
got a little history myself.
I mean, personally, I will say, and I know this is not the popular opinion, I like the 2-minute report because I also used to cover the NFL. And they used to make all kinds of officiating mistakes. And at least at the time I was covering the league, they would then just maintain silence or even just insist they hadn't made the mistake. And I don't know if you guys remember that Sports Illustrated cover where like one official's got his arms in the air signaling a touchdown and the other one had like no touchdown.
I agree. I want to know, but they need to be held accountable for it. Like, I think their grades, are their grades public?
So their grades, I don't think they're public. And obviously you can kind of track the assignments, the guys who get the better assignments.
Right.
But to your point,
there needs to be more
transparency.
And they need to be held accountable, and they need to be fined because we're all tired of seeing this. No one comes to the games to watch the refs. They come to watch these amazing players, and too often the refs are something we're talking about when we should be talking about them.
Yeah, and look, especially when there's a common sense thing, if at halftime an official walks up to Steve Kerr, which is what Steve said happened, and says, actually, yeah, we realized that was a mistake, put Draymond in for the rest of the game.
Right.
Just use a little common sense and fix it on the spot. So as you say, it doesn't cost the team.
Yeah.
We will be following that. Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols alongside our resident coach, David Fizdale, and NBA champ, Matt Barnes, who co-hosts All the Smoke with Steven Jackson. They won the iHeartMedia Award for Best Sports Podcast last night. We are impressed, proud, excited for you. If you haven't checked out All the Smoke, well, you're making a lot of mistakes in life.
You're snoozing.
Just saying. Coming up, guys, we're going to show you every bucket, every single one that Kobe dropped on this date, 2006, when he scored 81 against the Raptors. Stick around for that. First, though, here is a recap of last night's Lakers-Bucks showdown. Check this.
This, the only meeting of the season between LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Check my horoscope this morning. Said I was gonna win. Here's James. He had it deflected. Here's LeBron for 3. Giannis basket counts and a foul. I'm a win. Win again. I'm a win. James knocks it down. The Lakers defeat the Bucks in Milwaukee.
So Lakers win 113-106. LeBron scored 34 points, 8 assists, 6 boards. Giannis scoring 25 points, 12 rebounds. Here's Dave McMenamin asking LeBron after the game about matching up against Giannis.
Is there any satisfaction in having success against Giannis? You're now 16-5. Your teams are 16-5 in your career against him, and he's 10 years younger than you, and he's the back-to-back MVP. Yet you're still able to find success.
Nah. I think you know me. I think all you guys know me. It's never been about individual. It's all about the team success, and that's all that matters. I can care less about that. I just try to play well and help our team win versus any opponent, and that's what it's all about.
So I will say later in that same press conference, one of the other reporters said, right, but you did say when Giannis beat you out for MVP, you were, quote, pissed off. So there has to be something there. I mean, you coached LeBron for a long time in Miami.
Yeah.
Do you buy him downplaying the rivalry talk?
It's not a rivalry.
Right.
I think there were too loosey-goosey with the word rivalry these days. When we were growing up, a rivalry was Magic and Bird. Dr. J.
And some blood had to be shed, too.
Come on, what are we talking about? That's not a rivalry yet. And so, LeBron is competing against history. Mm-hmm. So when he didn't get MVP, it was more thinking historically what I didn't get. It wasn't about Giannis beating him or anything like that. So, again, I think LeBron is looking at it. I think he's being honest. I'm looking at it from a legacy standpoint. I'm not looking at it as an individual competition. And it's not right now. Although Giannis is one of the great players in our league, he hasn't done enough to make this a rivalry. And it doesn't become a rivalry really to me until you get in the finals, really, and you start beating each other up.
At least the Eastern Conference Finals or something.
But not have to be a finals. And so they got to beat each other up in the finals a couple times before we start talking rivalry.
LeBron is here for one thing, and that's championships.
Yep. That's it.
Plain and simple. You know what I mean? I think The individual matchups are more for younger players chasing that throne. You know, when LeBron was coming up chasing Kobe, that was a big deal. And whether he admits it or not, it was. But LeBron is here for one reason. He can care less about who he's playing. The goal is to win, continue to improve, and be healthy for the finals. So he can care less about this. I agree with him.
No doubt about it.
No, it's fascinating. And look, when LeBron versus Steph, that felt like a rivalry, right? 5 years meeting.
Yeah,
right?
that's a rivalry.
That's a rivalry.
4 years meeting in the final, like all of that. I mean, that just felt.
But here's the crazy part. We're talking about a 36-year-old man.
Well, that's
insane, right? People are chasing him. He's not chasing.
Yeah,
he has nothing to prove with individual matchups at this point in his career. So.
Yeah.
Does Giannis have a rival right now?
That first or second round of the playoff. That's about it.
Wow.
Hey, look, you know, Matt, I can't say none of that. Matt Barnes is going to keep it as real as possible.
That is the realest
I can't follow
that. All right, guys, I want to switch gears because we got to talk about what's going on in Utah. The Jazz have won a league-best 7 straight games after beating the Pelicans last night, 129-118. Utah now tied for second place out west, just a half game behind the Lakers. So, Matt, is the NBA, are the casuals, as producer Danny says, sleeping on the Utah Jazz?
I don't think so. I think that the league knows that this is a very solid team, similar being built to how San Antonio was built, with just a solid coaching foundation, a solid organization, and players you can pull in and pull out. What I'm interested in watching is what Shaq said to Donovan Mitchell last night. And some people took it negative. The competitor in me took it as a challenge.
Yes.
Like, Donovan Mitchell is going to be on a mission the rest of the season. The rest of the league better look out. I think he's going to continue his great play, but I think in order for them to advance through the playoffs, they need one more consistent 20 to 25 point score to match up with Mitchell. But I think Mitchell's going to be on a tear now.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing is the first time this is a healthy Utah Jazz team. They got all their bullets right now, and you know that the addition of Mike Conley that we didn't really get to see get going, Bogdanovich, all of these guys now, and you know, Denver is looking a little shaky, and Utah filled that slot quick.
Yep.
And so, you know, in the West, it can move fast. So it's going to be interesting to see how Denver responds in this season. But I'm telling you what, you got bona fide superstar Donovan Mitchell, and the fact that they signed Rudy Gobert and they solidified that duo, I think that really built a lot of camaraderie and confidence in the overall team, and knowing that we're moving forward with these guys and everybody else filling your roles.
Shout out to Quinn Snyder. He's been doing a great job.
Awesome. Like I said, he's the one coach who I think is a great coach, and I want to hang out with him. That's my guy. He is the coolest.
He was assistant coach with the Lakers when I played for the Lakers. Great guy.
Great guy.
And look, there's teams, all sorts of teams are going to tweak right around and before the trade deadline. Maybe the top contenders like the Lakers or the Clippers would do that too. But it's teams like the Jazz, teams like the Nuggets that I'm watching to see, do they want to add that next piece, right? If Bradley Beal becomes available, what would that look like on a couple of those kinds
Zach
of teams?
LaVine. People are sleeping on Zach LaVine. He's another big scorer.
Yep, absolutely. So that's another one to watch too, is teams are ascending, a team like the Jazz that wins 7 straight, and suddenly the front office starts thinking, all right, we got something that could actually challenge for a title if we just tweak, and there we go.
Health.
All right, sad news today. Henry Lewis, Hank Aaron, the longtime home run king of Major League Baseball, is dead at the age of 86. Hammerin' Hank broke Babe Ruth's home run record in April 8th, 1974, in spite of so many threats made against his life by racists who did not want to see a black man pass the Babe. Aaron finished with 755 career home runs, which stood as the Major League record until Barry Bonds broke it in 2007. You can all have your opinions about that. Aaron still holds Major League records for RBIs, total bases, extra base hits, and he ranks among MLB's best in hits, games played, runs scored, and boy, does he top out in every stat that measures class. He was enshrined in the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1982. In 1999, Major League Baseball created the Hank Aaron Award, given annually to the best hitter in both the AL and the NL. And in 2002, Aaron was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Matt, what do you think of when you think about the legacy of Hank Aaron?
All he went through, and kind of where society is right now. You know, obviously this morning when I heard of his passing, I was sad. So I just kind of started reading up on stuff and started reading some of the letters he would see. They said he would receive about 3,000 letters a day filled with just hate. And it was just incredible for him to be able to turn the other shoulder and continue on the path he was on, inspiring so many people like us to want to, you know, do better.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he went through that. He took the hits for us.
Yep.
We're not sitting here today without people like Hank Aaron, who really went through, got called the N-word so much it became normal.
Right.
Had so many threats on his life, it became normal. And through all of that, he personified greatness and class. And he is such a guy to look up to.